Hi, I'm Mary from Spare Parts, and this is the Richard Wilmore Show. On today's show, Stacey Andon and Kristin Montgomery. Hit it, Big Infinite.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door. It's the Richard Wilmore Show.
And now, here's Richard.
Oh my gosh, we need to get like a clap thing happening, and that's what I need to figure out. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
You did awesome. Everyone's off work today because of the snow here in Texas, so hopefully everyone's tuning in to hear all about spare parts.
Yeah.
I'm so excited that when I learned about it and that it's actually like a thing here in San Antonio. Can you tell everybody what it is?
Spare Parts is a nonprofit organization, and we advance reuse and sustainability through the arts and creativity. And just recently, we opened up a creative reuse store, which means that it's a sustainable arts and crafts store. We only accept materials that people don't want anymore, and it's just a lot of great stuff that's super inexpensive. We're saving stuff from going from the landfill while keeping people creative, especially during these cold and staying indoor times here in San Antonio.
I know it's perfect timing to go and not spend a lot of money, but to keep creating and express yourself. Where did this idea come from?
I founded Spare Parts about 10 years ago.
Wow.
I was a teacher that didn't have any money for art supplies, and I went to a business that had a bunch of leftovers that they weren't going to sell, but they didn't want to throw away. And I started using those leftovers for materials in my classroom. I realized that this was an opportunity greater than me, and I started offering those materials to teachers. Centers like this exist all over the country and the world, so I got to visit a bunch from New York to Scotland to Hawaii, and came up with a model that would be best for San Antonio. And we opened up our reuse center in December.
And I've seen on social media how excited everyone's getting about it. And my friend BK is, I know, very involved in it, and I love her. And that's how I heard about it. But what has the reaction been?
Oh, it's been super welcoming, and people are really appreciative of this center. Every time you go, there's always something different. You can find even things that are brand new for 75% off retail price. It's really inexpensive. We've kind of challenged the phrase starving artist. You know, it's expensive to be a working artist anywhere. And you can come to the center or buy online and really get what you need to be a flourishing artist.
I love it. What is kind of your goal for the future with Spare Parts?
The goal for the future, that's a good question. Well, we've already we have so many supplies and materials already donated to us. It's incredible what what folks have been wanting to give, and you know, becoming a larger store would be great. Because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to have in-person classes. So we want to have in-person classes. We want people to be able to come and maybe have their kids have a birthday party there. We're just trying to get the word out more and more about sustainable art making practices.
And to make it like a whole creative atmosphere. That's so awesome. How
Exactly.
can people, is it just like a regular thrift store where people just show up and donate their supplies, or how do people do that?
That's a good question. We have appointments that you make to drop off things. And then because of the pandemic, we have only members making appointments, 30-minute appointments where they shop by themselves for 30 minutes alone.
Okay.
And then you can shop online for really inexpensively in our online store. We're hoping to open up full time or on weekends in the spring, but it's all pending, how things are coming
Yeah,
along.
every day is quite a mystery around here. And
Yes.
then it's one day there's 5 inches of snow, and so you can't open anyway, even if you wanted to.
Yes.
Um, are you looking for volunteers, or how can people get involved on the other side of that besides just
That's
donating stuff?
You're reading my mind. That was what I wanted to talk about. Yes, we are
Yes.
desperately in need of volunteers. We're a volunteer-run center. People can contact me or Spare Parts through any of our online avenues, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I oversee all of the social media avenues, so they can contact us or email us as well.
Great. And the Spare Parts, I think that's your Instagram and your Facebook right there on your screen over here,
There.
underneath Mary. And you're getting comments. Rich Bennett thinks that what you're doing is amazing. So
Oh,
that's I
great.
think this is such a great concept. And as for especially like you were saying, starving artists, like they need to create to express themselves, and it's difficult to buy brand new stuff when you're not necessarily making a ton of money off of what you're creating. So I think this is a great like full circle to continue that. I love it.
Yes, you're totally right. We support those starving artists, but we also help parents who want to have something to do with their
Yeah.
kids, and art supplies are really expensive when they're full price. That's unnecessary. We're accessible to everybody.
Yeah, and it's more accessible and easier to do than like those paint nights where those are expensive to do yourself, and you have to go in and So I love this. I'm excited to watch you grow and hopefully be involved in some way because I love this idea. So I'm so thankful that you're here, Mary.
And you're welcome to come by. Just let us know. We'll let you in.
I just have to make my 30-minute appointment.
Yeah, that's all.
Perfect. Not that big of a deal. Check out Spare Parts right there on Facebook, Instagram, their website. Thanks, Mary. We'll be right back after this with Kristin Montgomery.
Fruesballs. Funny name, serious plant power. Healthy, whole food goodness in one single bite. Wineria SA. Let's enjoy some great vino together. Let's do a virtual wine tasting, enjoy exclusive artisan wines, and join the club. Neon Castaway. Handmade accessories for a colorful life. Teenus. Handcrafted, farm to cup, organic, quality. The Classic Theater, creating excellent theater in San Antonio, Texas that is relevant, diverse, entertaining, and transformative.
Discovered while you were in church, yes?
Yes. I was young. My reverend of my church pulled me aside. I had a grandmother who had a god-awful voice, and the only way to drown her out was to sing louder. So that's what I would do to distract from her Ethel Merman sounding voice. So my reverend heard me and said, "Hey, I got to give this guy some lessons." And then, he introduced me to the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and Queen and all these great rock bands. And that's just kind of where things took off for me.
Wait, your reverend introduced you to all of those?
Yeah. He was a professional tenor with the Boston Pops, as well as he sang opera as well. I grew up in a Protestant family, and the Protestant church was kind of ahead of its time as far as its allowance of extracurricular activities and whatnot, I guess. So we we kind of, bonded over, my solos in the church choir, and then he would give me critiques afterwards, and he would be like, "Man, that was like such a Freddie Mercury moment," or "You shook a little bit like Elvis when you were singing the Lord's Prayer, and you can't do that because it freaks the old people out." So it was he was a really cool guy, and really encouraged me to perform. And he told me that someday I'd make $1 million with my voice, and I'm still waiting for that check to roll in.
It's coming. There's still time. Where did you grow up?
Oh, I grew up all over. My mom is from New England. On her side of the family, we go back to the women who were hanged for witchcraft in Salem and the Mayflower. And my dad is from Copenhagen, Denmark. And I grew up in New England, small fishing villages. I'm in Cape Cod right now. And I've kind of, taken up my father's trade a little bit, and I work the boats, and I was hitting the shanty bars singing old Irish music, and the virus kind of shut that down. But I grew up like Marshfield, Hanover, Mass, Cape Cod. I lived in Boston for many years, traveled around quite a bit. Now, I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida, so I've always kind of been on the move. I was one of those kids, those delinquents who was out of the house at 16. So I moved around a lot.
So were you one of the first musically talented people in your family? I know there were bad singers, but was anybody else in your family into it?
I have a lot of people on my dad's side. My cousin Sarah was the manager of a record store in downtown Copenhagen, and my cousin Morgan is a metal what would you call it? An avid metal fan, and he's he follows a lot of different bands. I don't know if he's playing, but my grandfather on my mom's side had a great voice, and his brother played banjo. His other brother played harmonica. So, I mean, there was a lot of country music around. We grew up, listening to Johnny Cash and Larry Gatlin and all those bands, and John Denver, and we had a heavy dose of old school country.
What about the band you're in now, Winterkill? Can you tell everybody about that?
Sure. Yeah, the band itself really is just me. I hired studio musicians to record the record. I wrote all the music and co-produced it using some pretty talented session players. The name Winterkill Band just kind of came from a friend of mine, and he and I were walking out in the woods together, and we came across a bunch of deer that had passed away one bad winter when we were doing some snowshoeing, and we found that it was probably one of the worst winter kills in a really long time, and that name kind of became synonymous with getting through these brutal New England winters. And so Winterkill became this metaphor for getting people through by entertaining them at the local drinking holes.
And how would you describe the sound of Winterkill?
We are definitely an alt country band. I incorporate a lot of rock influence into it. I spent time in Nicaragua in 2001, and I fell in love with that Latin sound, and so I incorporate a lot of that into it. We had this real bossa nova vibe in this song called "You're New" that's on the Gravel Church. But it's I consider myself more a singer-songwriter, kind of I guess like Tom Petty and George Harrison, that kind of a vibe where my voice gives the artist away, but there's so many different influences that I couldn't really pigeonhole it. But I'll tell you that the rock stations tell me that I'm too country, and the country stations tell me that I'm too rock, and so I'm still trying to kind of find a place.
You have something very exciting coming up in 2021 that you can look forward to, a new album coming out in March.
Yes, my album, The Prince of Poverty, is out March 5th. And we worked really hard on that. So I'm really excited about that, hoping that soon after that, maybe we'll be able to start playing out. Who knows? But if not, I just plan on going back into the studio. I have a daughter who is a up and coming singer, and I'm hoping that she's going to join me on one of my records. And believe it or not, she just got married. So been celebrating that via Zoom. And I got to see the aftermath. I didn't get to attend, but because of the virus, but it was pretty cool. She married, she married my daughter-in-law, who's she married a woman, and she's just, one of the best couples I've ever met. Just two beautiful people, and they're just awesome and both very talented. But my daughter's just got this an amazing voice, and I can't wait to have her, come out and play too.
That'll be awesome. We'll tell them both congratulations from me, please. What do you miss most about performing live?
Oh, just I miss my tribe. I miss that feeling, being a Scandinavian. I miss that closeness that we have, that connection, moving in tandem to, the rhythm of music. It's a very tribal, instinctual thing, and I miss that. I miss the eye contact with the crowd. I miss. I just miss the feeling of playing live, the excitement and the adrenaline, and but really just the human contact. I'm just broken without it at this point. It's been too long.
Yeah, I hear you. So how can people best support you right now? Obviously, pre-ordering the album that comes out March 5th. But how
Yep. Pre-ordering the album, playing, adding us to their playlists, and, following what we're up to. I post stuff up on YouTube all the time. The problem I have is that I write too much, and so I've been putting new material up on YouTube. We pretty much have enough material to go into the studio and do another record, and so people could help me by getting me to focus on the matter at hand with The Prince of Poverty, which is coming out March 5th. Keep me focused on that, and I will be trying to do some live performances. I get really weirded out by this streaming thing. I have no problem putting videos of me playing live up on um, Facebook and all these other places, but without that interaction, it's weird for me. Like if I can't look in and see you looking at me, like it's it weirds me out. I feel like I'm just playing for a coffee table, and so I don't do too much of that, but there's a couple of places that are doing live stream performances with small crowds, and I'm gonna try to get in on that. But I would just really appreciate it if people kind of paid attention to what I was doing, and if they enjoyed it, follow and stick around. And keep track of what's going on, because we're putting out great music all the time.
Yeah, this is true. Go check out the Instagram handle is right there at the bottom of your screen. Go check them out, and hopefully, maybe when you're ready to go out and perform live again, you can come back and perform something for us.
I would love to.
All right, great. Follow Winterkill right on Instagram at the bottom of your screen, and we will be right back. Thank you, sir.
Lick Honest Ice Creams. Know what you're licking, y'all. Made in Austin, Texas since 2011. Unique flavors inspired by what's in season locally. Go Vegan San Antonio, a vegan comfort food truck located at The Block in San Antonio. Rebel Designs, handcrafted sterling silver jewelry designed by Shelley, inspired by nature. The right fit, style, makeup, and fitness, taking the stress out of getting dressed.
We're back with Stacey Andon. Hi, Stacey.
Good morning, beautiful.
Good
Excuse
morning.
me.
You've got the Stacey After Dark voice.
I know, it's your favorite voice. I thought about you yesterday. I was like, oh, Richard loves this voice.
Yes, thank you for getting that ready. How was your Valentine's Day?
It was quiet. I love Valentine's. Actually, to be honest with you, people sent me all sorts of Valentines in the last 10 days, I think, because nobody knows what the mail's going to do.
Mm-hmm. You'll still get them probably for
right? I'm sure. And
yeah.
I probably sent 30 Valentines out a couple of weeks ago, because I was worried the same thing. Are people going to get them and what have you? So did you get my Valentine? I sent you one.
You know what? We got new mailboxes, and I haven't checked it in 3 weeks. So maybe,
okay.
But that'll be on my list. I will
okay, so we can't blame that on the postal service.
But I will go out in the snow for you today and check.
As you should.
Yes.
I mean, here we go. I'm sending you love via the mail. You should be all over that.
Love is just waiting for me, and I have to go find it now.
Exactly. And who knows what other things might be in your mail that might be even better than a mail Valentine for me.
Maybe there's money in there. I don't know.
Exactly. A big check.
Yes.
That's what my husband always says.
Yes.
I'm going to the mail to see if the big check is there. Go for it.
Every day it's a disappointment. Stacey, you have a topic today that you want to talk about that I wanted to not know what it was, so everything's a surprise. Because when you brought it up, you seemed really excited about it, and I thought, well, this is the perfect opportunity for me to be surprised. So
I love it, right?
Yeah. So this is either going to make me realize that I need to know everything that's happening on my show before it happens, or it'll be a fun little thing.
Okay, well, hopefully I am not going to be the thing that, creates any crazy monstrosities, but so many people in my person, I probably, since I was a little kid, I swear people are always confiding in me, asking me about their relationships, because I've been through a really messy divorce too. People are always asking me relationship questions, and I have one thing. There's lots of things we can do, but I think there's one thing that if we practice right now, today, in every relationship, not just the ones that are romantic, but friendships, family, that can be a game changer.
Okay.
And here's the thing. It's simple, but maybe not always easy. Curiosity. Mm-hmm. So I always love to say, and I did this when I worked in actually my corporate HR job, is before you say something to someone, if you're feeling a little off or whatever, ask a question before you start into why you need to be right and why the other person is wrong. Because I think a lot of what gets people kind of, wonky in relationships is that we don't really listen to each other. If we just take that awkward pause, which again, we don't love, and we just sit back for a second, I was like, what does this person want me to know? Right? What are they sharing with me? Because we're usually, have you been in a conversation where somebody's like, they're waiting for you to finish talking so then they can, right? Like they're not listening. They're just thinking about whatever it is that they want to say and waiting for you to stop so they can say it.
Can you shut up because I have something better to say? Is usually how that
Exactly.
comes across. Yes.
I think what most of us, and maybe there's some people out there that this isn't true for, but most of us learned in relationships, and especially if you're in conflict, is there's a winner and a loser. Right? I have to be right, so I have to tell you why I'm right, versus why can't both people be right? Right? When we're being curious, it's not that you're right and I'm wrong or I'm right, right? Like it's more of like, okay, how is what you're sharing and what you're trying to express to me something that is important for me to be paying attention to?
Right.
I don't think we get curious enough. I think we get so in our own defensive space or like, again, whatever it is that we want from the other person that we don't take that step back.
Well, especially if it's like an opposing view, as opposed to like,
absolutely,
I'm going to listen and hear you out. I might learn something. You get like, oh, well, you're wrong because that's not my view. So you get super judgy instead of like, well, I wonder why. I wonder why they think that, or wonder why they did whatever they did.
You know, and we make it mean, like our minds are wired to make meaning out of things. So we are creating a story that most of the time is incorrect, right? Well, why did they do that? We're answering it. We're not asking. You don't like me. You're mad at me. You don't, blah, blah, right? Like we make up the story. And so many people, you know, Brene Brown's famous for this, but I don't think she's the original author of this idea, is what do we make it mean? So you say something to me or you do something and I fill in a story. Oh, you didn't call me when you said you were. You're mad at me, right? Or, you know, I did something to upset you. Well, there could be 100 other things that could be true besides that.
Yeah.
But if we're not curious, we just jump and assume, and then we're like on that roller coaster.
Yes.
Down that train. And you're right. Because ultimately, everybody on the planet, as far as I know, wants to be heard and seen and understood. So you can hear somebody and really understand them. Doesn't mean you always have to agree. I don't agree. No, I don't think I agree. Unless you start cloning me and putting me out there, there's not one person on the planet that I agree with on, you know, everything.
I don't even agree with some of the stuff I do. I'm like, did you really just do that?
Well, that's true. I look back and I go, oh, I don't agree with that anymore. But
you
know what?
I can't believe I did that. Yeah.
If we believe that we're trying to show up and doing the best we can, all of us in the moment, you know, then you create that gap and that space for yourself and other people to be curious. But if you just go right into something, then this is how people get in having the same argument over and over and over again, because nobody's really getting curious about what's under the surface. We're just arguing. I was using this example last week in my group. I said, I think my first husband and I argued about a pot in the sink for 2 or 3 weeks. And it had nothing to do, right, with the pot. It had to do with, do you actually really appreciate me? And, you know, a lot of other things. You can't be curious if you're so worried about whether that pot's getting clean or not, right? If you make it about, it's like, but if you go, wait a second, why are we having this same argument? Or why are we having an argument about a pot? What's going on for me and what's going on for him?
How do you start to, because that's honestly something that I have been working on, which is funny that you bring it up because this has been a topic in my life for very recent. Like I've been working on it for a couple of years, like because I don't think it's something you can do overnight where you're just like, I'm not going to judge people anymore, because we all do. Like that's just a natural thing.
Absolutely.
But it's been coming up in conversations with other people lately, where they're starting to figure that out. So I think it's very interesting that you bring that up today, because
right? And you didn't have any idea. Just
I had no idea.
The synergy just worked like magic.
I didn't even read your pre-interview form for
I love
that reason, because I didn't want to spoil it. But how do people start to like make that shift? Because it isn't easy to just turn that part of you off.
No. So you know that really big cheesy Staples commercial with the easy button, right? I want a button like that, although be much class. It'd be in Stacey if Stacey wouldn't be so like practical. It had like really fancy font, and I just want it to say pause. You cannot be curious and you can't change something, right? If we just do the same thing. And so how do you break that? By just taking a breath and literally be willing to be in an awkward pause. Like, I need to think about, like, let me like process or think about that. And to your point about the part that judges, because you're right, that's part of the brain trying to figure out where we fit in and how all this, what this means. I also love to say, like, can we just just recognize with love the part, yeah, of course we're human, we're going to judge, rather than be like, oh my gosh, now I'm judging that I'm judging, right? Like, then you can get down a spiral really fast. So it's just like, let's just fast pass, like, let's skip that part and just go, yes, I'm judging. So what am I judging and why am I judging it? Right? So if you just keep asking yourself why, pause button, why, what's going on here? Not big, you don't even have to like, no fancy big question, just like, that's so interesting. Richard's responding that way. This is what I'm thinking about that. Again, I'm curious. Let me ask him another question. Can you say more about what you mean about that? Like, simple, you're right. It's not easy probably just to switch it on, but once you start practicing it, it will be awkward at first, but as you do more of it now, my husband and I'll say, I know what I'm making that mean. And then you get a little humor, which is always great in relationships, right? Lighten up the energy and go, yeah, and this is why I'm making it mean that. So it's not that I'm wrong or bad or what have you, but I can create space between how I want to react and then how I want to respond, right? Like that inclination to react when you hit the pause button, you're like, oh, do I want to yell? And it's so interesting when people yell at each other, and I might have said this to you before, I believe that people yell because what they're really saying is, I do not feel heard. So I'm going to raise the volume of my voice so you'll actually hear me. When somebody raises their voice to me, which I don't particularly like because I got raised in a family where there were a lot of yellers, I will say, I'm obviously not understanding the point you're trying to share with me. So number one, let's time out with the yelling. And number two, how can you say that, or how can you share that with me in a way, again, that I have this desire to want that.
Well, it's almost like when you meet someone for the first time and they tell you their name, and you repeat it so you know that you heard it correctly. It's almost like, all right, this is what I heard. Is that what you're trying to tell me, or am I going down the wrong avenue?
Yeah. And that's like, it's so funny because if you've been in the corporate world at all, there's been years ago, lots of communication training where people mirror, right? They're taught to mirror that, like to ask, like, is this what you mean? Or this is what I heard. Yeah, you could use those if they feel kind of awkward. You could start there. You could come up with one that feels better to you. You could take it and kind of just tweak it a little bit. But that's the purpose, is not to assume, because we make lots of assumptions. I know what he meant by that. I know he looked at me funny, right? And I know, and all of a sudden you're on a train down. And to me, not that I'm a huge lover of Dr. Phil these days, but it reminds me of the essence of what Dr. Phil, like what made him so like a popular years ago, is like, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And to me, it's like, do you want to be, on the Stacey train of like, or do I want to actually create more meaningful connection with the person that I'm in relationship with?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's so funny that this is the topic of the day.
This is very funny. Isn't it funny how the universe has a way of always giving us what we need?
Yes. And you have told me that many, 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 many times.
And the universe just keeps doing it. So it's like, hey, reminder.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
That's insane. What are you working on these days? You're always, I mean, I know you outside of this show, and every
Mhm.
time I talk to you, you're like, well, I've done this, and I wrote this book, and I did this. And what are you up to these days? I
So
haven't
right
talked to you in a
now,
little while.
because it's February and Love Month, and again, I'm not like, hey, one day of the year, let's like, if I want us always to be spreading more love 365 days a year. But I always want to help everyone to create more of what you want. So to me in Love Month, what do we want more of, right? We want more understanding and better relationships. I just did a session last week on, how do you have better sex, with yourself or somebody else. But again, all of these things are related to each other, interestingly enough. This Friday, so each Friday in February is a different kind of related topic. This Friday, we're going to be talking about soul friendships. So like, those catty relationships we had when we were younger, where it's like there was a lot of jealousy or competition involved, or people got together to complain about somebody else, or, oh, they ate a sandwich and it was 5 zillion calories and now they have to work out. Like, right. Like, I want to help people go into the deeper end of meaningful relationships. So you really create something that's true and authentic and not necessarily so much codependent, which a lot of relationships sometimes are more that, because we don't trust that we can manage our feelings and the other person can manage theirs. So how do you do that? Because we really haven't been taught it. So that's what I'm working on in February, really helping people improve the quality of love and relationships in their life.
And you said it's every Friday. Where
Every
is it that
Friday.
people can find? Where
Yeah,
every
so
Friday?
in order to get all the details, you can get on my newsletter, which is easy to do from my webpage, staceyandon.com, or you can come into my free Facebook group, which is called Unlock Your Midlife Magic. It's all about, again, how most of us are trying to avoid the meltdowns in the middle of our lives rather than leaning in. So my whole premise is the more we lean in, the more we're actually going to be like, love our life, lottery love. Like, you felt like you woke up and your life was like the winning lottery ticket. So I post all the details, and it's a Zoom, so you get all the link information there as well too.
So go look that up. It's one of the most
Do
inspiring
it.
groups I'm a part of on
Aw.
Facebook. And the way that people are open to sharing
Mhm.
and just what you learn from other people is so inspiring. And I think it says a lot about you as a person to create an atmosphere, a virtual atmosphere that people are so comfortable
Yeah.
typing and sharing to strangers, and there is no judgment there, and it's all just love, and
Yeah.
it's so sweet.
And so that just means to me, thank you, we can do it, right? We don't
Yeah.
have to live in that other world where we're judging and we're feeling bad and we're playing the compare despair. Yes, that's going to show up, but there's so many other avenues and lanes on the highway of life, and that's what I'm creating. So I am on a mission to change as many people one at a time on this planet to a different lane than the one that most of us were raised
Yeah,
in, that doesn't feel good, and again doesn't actually create that, like, hey, I want to jump out of bed because I love my life feeling most days.
I love it.
Yep.
Stay Get in line for Stacey to change your life, and
Yeah.
reach.
Oh, yeah. The other thing I should sorry, if I have 10 more seconds, is
Sure.
I do have a couple openings for one-on-one clients, and that's been a big focus. I've really been, as people kind of start the new year, they get into that, like, hey, I don't want to put off what I've been putting off for a year, 2 years. So you want the fastest way to really, like, again, do some of the things we were talking about earlier, hire a coach. A coach is like this, can be the safest, most powerful vehicle of transformation on the planet.
And it's not like you have the code and you have all the answers and you're going to tell us what to do, but it's very a session with you is like, oh my gosh, you figure all this stuff out and you're like, oh, I knew that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you are just there, like, with the key to open the door to be like, you know what
Yeah.
to do,
And
and to
that's what
give
a
us
good coach
permission to do
does.
that.
if you're with a coach and they're giving you advice and telling you what to do, they're, to me, walk away. Because
Walk away.
you know all the answers. I don't know Richard's code, but I can help you access it in a way that maybe you haven't done before.
I love it. Stacey's here every month, so if you have questions for her or comments,
bring it on. I'm in. I'm always in for
every month.
Me your most challenging question, and Richard and I will tackle it next month. I can't wait.
I love it. Stacey, I love you. Check her out. There's her Instagram down there. Yay. I'll figure this out eventually. I've only been doing this for 6 years. I love you, and I will see you soon.
I love you too. Okay.
Stacey,
bye, my friend.
Everyone. We'll be right back.
Lick Honest Ice Creams. Know what you're licking, y'all. Made in Austin, Texas since 2011. Unique flavors inspired by what's in season locally. Go Vegan San Antonio, a vegan comfort food truck located at The Block in San Antonio. Rebel Designs, handcrafted sterling silver jewelry designed by Shelley, inspired by nature. The right fit, style, makeup, and fitness, taking the stress out of getting dressed.
We are back. Thanks for watching, everyone. We did have a couple of questions during the show that during Kristin's segment, which was pre-taped, so I couldn't butt in and talk about it. But also TL Jokinen on YouTube asked or said we need this in northern Wisconsin about spare parts. So reach out to her. Go on their website or Instagram, reach out to Mary and see, Terry, this could be your new business. And Rich asked if Kristin's music was on Spotify or Apple. Of course it is. Yes, go download, go share. Look up Winter Kill Band and support them, would you? All right. And if you feel like maybe supporting this show, you could become a coffee sponsor. And what a coffee sponsor is a way to help continue this show grow. And right there, it's the tiniest little link that I will put in the comments here of the show, but it's buymeacoffee.com/RichWilmore And literally for the price of a coffee, everyone always says that and they go, well, that doesn't help. But it really does, because people win prizes and we ship them out, and that covers that. It covers all kinds of fun stuff. It covers new lights. We've done some great stuff, even the advanced from Kristin's segment like that we filmed a month ago. Look how different our set looks. So I love it, and I thank everyone who has donated so far and become a coffee sponsor. So thank you for that. Now, let's give some stuff away, shall we? All right, if you like the show, if you share the show, if you comment, if you do anything but put the thumbs down or a sad, mean face, you get put in my crown of giveaways. And you win something from our sponsors. Not all of our sponsors. That would be too much. All right, let me pick someone. I'm not gonna look. I don't want to cheat. Here we go. Oh, the winner is Ted Switzer. Ted Switzer, you are the winner this week. Contact us. Tell us which prize you would like, and we will ship that out to you, courtesy of one of our coffee sponsors. That's the show for today, everyone. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your week. Stay warm. I love you. Goodbye.
It's the Richard Wilmore Show.